Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bobby.
What up, big dog?
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. I really can't complain. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I could, but who would listen?
I want to listen. Complain.
Thank you so much.
Come
man.
on.
Oh, my God. I don't even have to do a BetterHelp copay? That's amazing.
Nothing. You know what's funny? Your name, Bobby, reminds me of the first concert I ever went to.
Bobby Schmurder?
Bobby Dylan.
Bob Dylan, dude.
Yeah, first concert I ever went to.
I
Bob
love that,
Dylan.
dude. I love that. I love Bob Dylan because he's a great lyricist and he can't sing, and that doesn't stop him.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's like Johnny Cash, too. It's kind of the same thing.
How old were you when you went to this Bob Dylan concert?
11.
Ooh.
Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, and John Mellencamp were doing a tour of like minor league baseball stadiums. Yeah, kind of crazy.
Okay.
And yeah, my dad was like, let's go to this shit. So me and my dad went, and there was this super drunk lady kind of in the standing room area, and she kept going, Bobby! Screaming Bobby. So anytime I say your name, I think of that.
You think of an old drunk woman screaming Bobby at
Yeah.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. Yeah, I've noticed there's kind of because Bobby, there is a thing where people want to tell me other Bobbies that they know, but it's very culturally dependent. Like a millennial, a white millennial will say Bobby Boucher.
Sure.
You know, from Waterboy.
Yeah.
And then I noticed like black people, millennial, Gen X, they're gonna go for Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown.
Which is not so great because he does hit his partners, and I don't. Full disclosure.
Sure.
I wanted to mention that up top, but
And you dance better. But
and
anyway.
I dance better.
Sorry.
That's debatable. And then like younger millennial, Gen Z, black people, they say Bobby Schmurder,
Sure.
who has been to prison. I have not been to prison
Yet.
No. I think if I was gonna go to prison, it would have been as a drinking man, and
You
I
think
never
so?
went, but because I never got caught drinking and driving. Yeah, dude.
Man.
They talk about how dangerous drinking and driving is, but no one talks about how fun it is.
Oh, it's fun.
It's a blast.
It's
You
fantastic.
have your favorite music
Yeah.
turned up,
Yeah.
and you're flying down the highway, and
Yep.
you're like, you know what makes it the most fun is the whole time you're like, dude, this is so fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm being fucked up right now.
You don't even need to look out the windshield. It's great. It's fucking great.
I mean, you do need to, but you don't feel like you need
Right,
to. And that's
right.
what makes it fun.
When
Yeah.
I used to live in Connecticut, I would go back to Rhode Island every once in a while because it was like an hour. And I would do like a mic or a show, and then I'd get hammered with my buddies. And I would get on the highway, and it was late at like 1 in the morning to go right back to Connecticut. And I just hit the cruise control. You go 65. You don't got to worry about going over the speed limit. Easy. Cruise. Literally.
Yeah, that's what the cruising means.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you've heard me talk about going cruising, that's all I was talking about.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Using cruise control.
While you were drunk
The,
driving.
the funny thing about drinking and driving, and it's hard to pick just one, right? But
Yeah,
it was one of those things where, because as an alcoholic, because I'm sober now, but I drank hard for many years, and I always had these rules, right? You have these rules. You're like, well, I've never done this.
Yeah.
And then I would do that, and I'd be like, just move the goalposts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that was one of them. I'm like, I've never driven a car drunk before. And then I woke up, from the first time doing that, and I was like, but that, I mean,
That's negligible.
that's most of what being an alcoholic is going,
Yeah.
just making noises.
Right.
And everyone's like, no, we're still approach the bench. And I'm like, Your Honor.
Right.
Ah.
Just gargling noises as you choke on your vomit.
I noticed that when people, because we're in off mic, we were talking about like people don't know how to be a good pedestrian.
Yes.
People don't know how to drive or ride a bike in the city. Like, I will watch interactions with people where one person is clearly wrong, right? Like someone runs a red light on their bike, say, and then someone else almost hits them. They both get the same. I've never seen someone be like, I fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do that. I'm so oriented in the other way. Like, I think I'm almost hyper agreeable sometimes. Where, like, if an interaction happens with me and a stranger, I apologize. And then later I'm like, oh, wait, actually, I wasn't wrong at all.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But some people are oriented in the other way where if, like, they bump into someone, they're like, well, I'm me. And by nature of me being me, I'm never wrong.
Absolutely.
And then they lash out. And that, I think the latter is it's a more fun way to be.
Right. Yeah, because it's you're always right, which is great. I mean, you ever meet some of those people that if they lose something, it got stolen, they never lost it?
I love that, dude.
Yeah, that's like my dad.
Oh, okay.
My dad is like that. He'll lose sunglasses and blame it on the garbage man. Like, the garbage man went and took your sunglasses out of your truck. It's wacky.
It's interesting. I think because most people are oriented a little too far in one way or the other in that respect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because I would lose my sunglasses and be like, I'm such a fucking piece of shit idiot for losing my sunglasses. And it's like, well, it's okay.
Yeah.
People lose stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
But because it's yours, you're a fucking moron.
But then you do that. You do that thing where you're like, would I talk to somebody else the way I'm talking to myself sometimes? You know, and you realize you never would.
Sure.
Right. Unless I was like super dehydrated. You know.
Yeah, and
I
someone's
don't
like
have enough.
bugging
If
you.
my pee is not clear, I might get a little ornery.
Yeah, someone's bugging you. You're like, I'm fucking low on water right now.
Ornery is a word I learned from Eminem, by the way.
Your favorite.
My favorite, dude.
That's your king,
I feel
right?
like you were playing him when I walked in just to make me more comfortable.
Yeah.
More like willing to kind of go with the flow. Dude, he's coming out with a new album.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had Shane Gillis in his music video.
Dude,
Everyone
we
loves
are
that.
so fucking back.
White guys.
I wasn't going to go there, but
We never left.
Antonio, you barely qualify, by the way, okay?
I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's a joke that's like done a lot that I've seen like Latino comics do, is that they're like, during the inevitable race war that's going to happen in America,
Sure.
you get to choose the winning side. You get to the whole time, like, be Switzerland for a little while, see who's winning,
Yeah.
and then be like, hey, winner side, I'm on your side, FYI.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You could just kind of. You mean Hispanics can pick because they're in the middle. Okay. What
Yeah.
about Asia? Asians kind of can pick too.
No, I feel like summer of 2020 we kind of figured out.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we drew the line in the sand there. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, while we're on the topic of Eminem, I was listening to your podcast, the Before Hours podcast. Everyone
Yes.
check that one out too.
It's an internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person where I ask the most interested people I know about their sleep, their routine, life, love, stress, and setbacks. Thank you for listening.
Occasional morning person.
It's this whole thing, dude.
I've never met. Usually, people are morning people, or they're not. Do you go back and forth?
So I'm naturally a morning person.
Okay.
But I'm a stand-up comedian, so that
So you're
puts
up
me
late.
at
Yeah.
a lot of times, God forbid, I have a midnight spot. You know what I mean? And so that means, and I'm sober now, but I'll have a Diet Coke at like 6 p.m. You know,
you're fucked.
I'm up all night.
Yeah.
Sometimes I got to show little Bobby who his daddy is at the end of the night just to conk myself out. You know what I mean?
Right,
Which I hate doing. Because then I'm watching adult movies and I'm trying to
Sure.
watch less adult movies.
It hurts you more than it does him.
Yeah.
Typically. Yeah, for sure. But you have, like, your intro song is you rapping, yeah?
Yes, I can rap a little bit.
That's pretty sick.
I could rap in a way where if we're at a party and no one is expecting it and I start doing it, everyone's like, oh, well, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But if anyone's like, hey, Bobby can rap, and everyone's like, well, go ahead. The element of surprise is lost.
Right.
And then I'm just like mid at best. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I have this like little dicky vibe about me. Like I can never be like, here's what I think about the world. It has to be like kind of silly, which is fine because I'm silly anyway.
Sure.
So.
But I remember listening to it and being like, you can hear the Eminem influence.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I remember I was talking to a comic friend of mine, and he's a black guy from Detroit.
Okay.
And so he's like, every white guy in Detroit, you could hear at least a little bit of Slim Shady in him. You know what I mean? I feel like because rapping is a hobby for me, it's not something I've ever like taken seriously as like a way to pay my rent. I haven't moved beyond the imitation stage. Whereas like in comedy, like the first year of doing stand up, I just did a Jim Norton impression basically until I found my own voice.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm sure you were the same way.
Yeah. Maybe not Jim Norton. Maybe more Bill Hicks. Screaming.
That's painful.
That's a scary one to start with.
Antonio, I'm glad I met you when I met you then.
Yeah. It was a lot of sucking Satan's cock.
Yeah.
And screaming.
It's funny. You'll see. I feel like young white guys that start comedy, they do a Bill Hicks impression, and then young black guys when they sit on the stool, I'm like, I'm about to hear Patrice, dude. I'm about to hear a very nice Patrice impression. You know what I mean? And it's just because you emulate like the people. I heard someone say like you have to be on stage 100 times to even be comfortable.
Sure.
So until you're comfortable, like of course you're gonna kind of do an impression of like your influences. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Eminem himself was in his first album, Infinite. It sounds like he's basically doing a Nas impression,
Right.
or an AZ impression.
Right.
And that's why it like flopped because people are like, I guess like, and people think the rapidy rap thing is new. He started with the rapidy rap.
Wait, what do you mean rapidy rap?
Kind of like fitting as many syllables that rhyme in one bar as possible.
Right.
But without really any substance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when he moved away from that a little bit and then had the Slim Shady character and started talking about killing his ex-wife or whatever, then people are like, this is fun.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, because he's being creative, he's being himself. That's how it goes in the beginning of I guess any art that anybody does is they just pick their favorites, and over time, the ones that are really good are the ones that keep some of that stuff, but definitely develop their own sound, their own voice.
Yeah, I also used to be a little more judgmental of comedians before I started doing it myself. Like I remember I had this period, like 8th grade. Okay, so I'm so old that I forgot how old I am. 33.
Okay.
So I came of age, and like Dane Cook was popular, and I loved Dane Cook.
Oh,
right? Yeah. But then I had this period where like I discovered Louis C.K., and then there's the joke stealing controversy, and then so I started to become more of a comedy nerd, and I was like, Dane Cook is for dumb people. I like Louis, and then like I got a little older, realized how fucking difficult just every goddamn day of life is.
Sure.
And then started doing comedy, and I'm like, oh, what Dane Cook does is really hard. Yeah. And it's not for me. Yeah. But it's fine. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You get an appreciation for it.
Mm-hmm. Plus, he has a 19-year-old wife.
Oh, still?
Well, now she's.
Did he get a new one?
You get to trade up every year. That's.
Who's the other one that I saw that has a 19-year-old wife that's old as fuck? I forget who. There was another actor or somebody. It's not Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, there was. Was it Robert Downey Jr.?
Michael Jordan.
Who was it?
Michael Jordan. The dude that owns the Raiders.
Okay.
He's hideous. And his wife is like, see if you can find this guy and his wife.
Dude, love an ugly guy, hot woman combo.
Yes.
For no particular reason at all. But I think it's very cool when I see it.
Well, he also owns the Raiders, so he's not that ugly.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I sort of worry that, like, even if the comedy stuff really does work out for me, that I have some physical barriers that money cannot help. You know what I mean?
Money could. I mean, like what? What are you thinking?
I think money can't make you taller.
I don't
money
know.
can't make your penis bigger, from what I understand.
Ah.
I could probably get a forehead shortening surgery. That's gotta exist.
You think
right?
that would be easier than making you taller?
Oh, dude, I do know that you could go to I don't know if it's like China or like a Chinese country, but like you could go there and they break
Chinese country.
I wasn't sure if you were gonna let that go. But they'll literally break your shins.
Yes.
And then put a rod in there.
Yeah.
And it's a painful surgery, and some people it just doesn't work. Like now you're just fucked up and you have to walk on crutches forever.
Right.
And it makes you, Antonio, 2 inches taller.
Right. You could just get shoes.
Yeah, you could just wear lifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or Tim's or something.
You
wear some boots all the time.
You know what's interesting is I didn't know I was short until I was like an adult. I mean, I knew I was short, but I didn't. I didn't know. I feel like everyone pre-social media, and I know this has been said before, but I feel like everyone was like a little more polite back then. You know what I mean?
You think so?
Yeah, because I didn't realize until I went on dating apps and they were like, if you're under 5'10", I will fucking kill you if you try to talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't always like that. Like I went to high school, and high school is supposed to be a time where everyone's fucking cranky and mean and bullying. No woman ever said anything about me being short. Yeah, and I think any man younger than me at my height hasn't had that experience. I got out just at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I went through college without dating apps. Didn't fuck a lot in college, but that's because I was too busy focusing on my education.
Which is important.
Yeah.
It's far more important.
Dude, I had this vibe about me where It's a little self-defeating, and I think it probably came from low self-esteem. But when I was in high school, I was like, I'm not fucking in high school. Like I just decided.
You made the decision.
Yeah, I was like, it's just not in the cards for me. I know it's not in the cards.
Well, it's good that you made it and it wasn't made for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was made for. Well, it's like this back and forth thing. Like, was I think maybe if I had a better mentality, I could have maybe at least gotten a prom date.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But then I don't know. I guess you watch enough like movies. I was like, well, everyone fucks in college, and then my entire freshman year went by, and I was like, folks, I think I'm in trouble.
Yeah. That covenant you made with yourself in high school started to carry over a little.
Yeah, dude. No. Yeah, and then it's interesting too because I feel blessed that I didn't find an incel subreddit during that period of my time.
Oh, you would have.
You know what I mean?
Fallen.
Dude, I would have gone into. I'm not saying I would have Elliot Rogered everybody, but I definitely would have read some.
Who's that now? Who the fuck is that?
Did I overestimate how many people know about Elliot Roger?
I don't know.
He's the original incel, the Supreme Gentleman.
That they made the movie about? Was that? Because they made like a documentary
on
on
they better
incels.
not have made. Dude, it annoys me to no end when these fucking assholes get a movie written about them. Because it's like, that's why they did the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like,
oh, wasn't Ted Bundy so handsome and also a genius? I'm like, how about we just let him die in obscurity? He raped 100 women. Maybe let's stop talking about him. I know the irony of me bringing him up.
Let's
right
not
now.
cast Zac Efron to play the hottest guy ever to play Ted Bundy.
And the whole thing where people are like, well, women wrote him letters in prison. I'm like, yeah, they were fucked up.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to be next to these women.
Okay, what do we got? We got his.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
Let's see.
He is not a looker.
English American former college student and mass murderer. Mm-hmm. I like that that's there. That they put that in
His dad is like he was like rich. That's the thing you were talking about being rich is helpful, but rich doesn't solve autism, I don't think.
Elliot Rogers' Retribution. That sounds like a good book. Sounds like a Greek epic.
By the way,
what is this?
I think even saying Elliot Rogers the amount of time that we've had is already going to get us dinged on YouTube. Just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know.
Believe me.
You definitely don't want to hashtag Elliot Rogers.
I highlighted the cliff notes for you.
Roger first killed his two roommates and their friend in their apartment they shared, ambushing and stabbing them one at a time as they arrived. Hours later, Roger uploaded a video on YouTube titled Elliot Rogers' Retribution, in which he detailed his intentions to target Isaiah Vista, explaining his motivations were to punish women for their lack of interest in him and sexually active men.
That's the thing.
That's the college he shot up is Isla Vista.
Oh, okay. So he went to the college and killed.
Yeah, I'm a little dumb. I was like, did he go get on a plane and go to Cancun?
Yeah.
I guess if you're an incel, dude, that is like a good, just mow down everybody at Cancun.
Yeah, yeah. All the hot people.
Guys, just joking around. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please get help. But he started off by killing his two roommates, by the way, who were like two little studious Asian guys. So to me, I'm like, what
they had
the fuck?
it coming.
No, to me, I'm like, dude, that's not Chad. What are you doing?
Right. He's supposed to be. He's taking out the wrong guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be going after the captain of the football team or something.
Mm-hmm. And he posted on a subreddit, and I do understand that I know a little too much about this. But,
Sure.
He posted on a subreddit called PUA Hate.
PUA.
So PUA stands for Pickup Artists.
Okay.
And pickup was big in like I feel like the early. Not the early aughts, like maybe the 20. Thank you. I'm a comedian that doesn't know how to talk on the microphone.
Suck dick.
For a split second, I was like, by the way, you fucking suck at comedy. We hate what you're saying right now. So pickup artistry was like big in the 2010s, I feel.
Yeah.
And that was like where the book The Game came from.
Yes.
There was a whole thing of like peacocking. That's where the idea of peacocking comes from. Like, where people would wear like bizarre outfits to the bar to like make you stand out and make women like you or whatever, or at least pay attention to you. And so there was a PUA subreddit, but then there was a bunch of like, whether they're not conventionally attractive or shall we say neurodivergent, there were a bunch of men that tried PUA and it just didn't work because there's a level that you can ascend from.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I guess Elliot Roger tried PUA, didn't work. So he was posting on this subreddit called PUA Hate. And it's very. I think about the Overton window a lot with like politics, where there's like there's a limit of what's acceptable, right?
Right.
And it's so interesting how far people can be in one direction or the other. Because you would think pickup artistry hate, that would be like feminists, right? Feminists would hate pickup artists for obvious reasons, right?
Right.
But Elliot Rodgers, like, the thing with these fucking pickup artists is that they're snake oil salesmen and they're trying to steal money from the incels. Yeah, so that was like a big part of his manifesto. I didn't read the whole thing.
Right.
I read the wiki summary of
Just
the manifesto.
the beginning. Yeah.
There is a part of me that feels bad when because we are captivated by like the craziness of people that do horrible things like mass shootings or serial killing, right?
Yeah, it's exciting.
But you do kind of, you're like, this guy killed a bunch of people. I do kind of want to read his manifesto, but then you're like, no, he wants me to read the manifesto. Like, it's fucked up. I'm doing exactly what he wants me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's interesting.
I'm going to read it when I get home. It's already on my browser.
The guy that fucking lit himself on fire in front of the Trump trial, he's got a whole manifesto.
Oh.
My buddy sent it to me.
You know what would depress him? Like, if there's an afterlife and he could hear you speaking right now, what would depress the hell out of him is the fact that you just refer to him as the guy.
The guy.
He lit himself on fire. I don't know his name.
Nobody knows his name.
No one knows his name,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
That's the thing with, like, even Columbine was, like, the OG school shooting.
That was the first one.
And do you know their names?
No.
I know their names, but I'm a little, I'm a little fucked up with
You did
this
a little
stuff.
research.
Yeah, but, like, it's
But that's what happens when an innovator kicks in the door. They never get their flowers. Lenny Bruce died before he was popular. The whole deal. It always happens.
Dennis Leary is doing a lot of Lenny Bruce jokes, so it worked out at the end.
Yeah.
There was a comedian that had a joke about that where he was basically like, Columbine. You know how many people? Guess how many people the Columbine kids killed?
It's like
30.
20, right?
13.
13.
Yeah.
Lucky
And
number.
I mean, unlucky if you're one of the parents, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you could kind of accept that as a silver lining. Like,
Yeah. They're
sorry,
like, well,
your son is gone, but
he was number 13. At least he wasn't like 8.
Yeah.
Some bullshit,
yeah. Was it 13 or was it 15? There's always the thing where do you count the two people? Or
Guess I got to search Columbine.
That they kill the.
Are you in incognito at least, Billy?
I use Brave, so I'm not being tracked by the government.
There you go, dude.
You
I
see
love
that?
when you go on incognito. It tells you it's like this is great for if you're looking to buy a present for your wife.
Yeah.
Right? As if like the main reason is not pornography for 99% of people.
15 killed, 24 injured.
15, but including
the
the
perpetrators. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I was right. It was 13.
Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold.
Mm-hmm.
Etch their names in history, folks.
There was a fucked up story of right outside the high school, like in a field or whatever, they put up 15 crucifixes for everyone that passed away.
Including
and then
the two.
Yeah, and then one of the dads like removed 2 of them because he was like, "Are you fucking serious right now, dude?" I mean, there is a conversation to be had of like, obviously they suffered from mental illness,
Yes.
in some way, shape, or form, but
Yeah.
it's like, you can only have so much empathy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I had this conversation before. Like, school shooters or mass shooters are mostly men because a woman will never shoot up a supermarket because someone won't fuck them.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
there's this men act out and women act in. That's why women are more likely to cut.
Yes. Right.
I think that is.
That
part
could be
of it.
true. Yeah, men don't cut. They just go right to suicide if they're going to
Yeah.
do anything. There's no self-harm for men.
My buddy Andrew Harms has a pretty good joke because he's like, whenever someone kills themselves, they go like, "Oh, that was so selfish of them. They shouldn't have done that. It was so selfish."
Yeah.
But like, what if I was gonna go on a mass shooting and end it with a suicide? And then she's like, "So what you should do, if you're gonna fuck, I forgot if you're gonna unalive or self-delete."
Yeah.
You should write a whole manifesto about how you're gonna shoot up a place.
Yeah.
And then don't, obviously, and then just kill yourself.
Ah.
And people will find it and be like, "Oh, he did the right thing."
He did the right thing. That is
Yeah.
good. That's like a glitch in the matrix there.
Yeah,
That's the stuff Andrew Tate talks about getting out of.
dude, his rise is so fascinating to me because he's so clearly a snake oil salesman.
He's the exact opposite of the incel. He's like the other side. Remember how you were saying how like there's two sides and it's crazy to see how extreme people will go?
Yeah.
The extreme incel kills people and the extreme, I guess, alpha male big boss guy sex traffics.
Yeah.
And somewhere in between is the good guy, you know?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I do think incels and people that follow Tate do have like a similar ideology. I do think they both probably. Well, I should clarify. When I say incel, I mean someone taken in by the incel ideology.
Right.
Not everyone that's romantically or sexually unsuccessful, because I do think there are people that are romantically or sexually unsuccessful that are fucking like, well, I got to keep self-improving.
Right.
And life is what it is, accept life on life's terms or whatever. But the people that are like, I can't get laid and I'm angry about it, I think share a similar ideology with like Andrew Tate. The difference is like their success, but the way they see the world, I think they both see it as is kind of like probably more dangerous than it is.
Sure.
And that you have to be more Machiavellian than you really have to. You know what I mean? That's what and I relate to it a little bit because as someone that I think is naturally hyper agreeable and only became less so due to the necessity of living in New York and doing stand-up. Those two things, like, you have to be kind of tough.
Sure. And
not agreeable, or at least become disagreeable, But I could key into going so far in the other direction, overcompensating and being like, well, I'm so trusting and whatever, and then you're like, well, actually, fuck everyone and fuck the world, and I'm just gonna look out for myself.
Right.
And neither one is like a recipe for happiness, I don't think.
Right.
Ugh, listen to fucking me being a supposed comedian.
We talk about everything on this goddamn show.
Okay.
That's the problem with ideology in general, though, is you can switch to, if you're susceptible to believing in one, you can believe in the next.
And I personally know a lot of people, people roll their eyes when you say horseshoe theory, but it really is true. Like the idea that you could be so far left that you're right again.
Yes.
You could so far right that you're left again. I do know I think for some people it's a temperamental thing. They're angry, and then they want to find an extreme ideology to continue being angry in.
One that fits their anger.
Because you can't be like fucking pissed off and be like, well, it's a complicated issue.
Yeah. How dare you be understanding of everything that's happening. It's
also like, I was joking to my friend the other day, like, I think I should just become a political extremist to help my comedy career.
You should.
Because I know so many people that they either went full MAGA or they went full ACAB.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And now they have a ton of followers. And I'm like, fuck, if I could bring myself to do one of those things, maybe I'd be more successful. Now, would I be able to sleep at night? Probably not. But
who needs that anyway? I
mean, getting monetized and getting a bunch of money is enough to get you a bunch of sleeping pills, and that would help me sleep.
Sure.
So we'll see.
You should go. You should go radical wig. You should bring wigs back. Just be like, this is the building blocks of fucking Republicans.
Wig, the precursor. Lincoln was a Whig before he became a Republican.
Exactly. You see the segue. You see how we do this?
It's a beautiful segue. And I will say, because I know we both have been reading about Abraham Lincoln. He's my favorite president. Before he became a Republican, he was a member of the Whig Party.
Yes.
And Whig comes from there's a Whig Party in Britain. And the reason they were called the Whigs is because they were more conservative, so they still wore wigs.
Right.
There was a switch. And then America, as much as they were like, fighting against the British, we do borrow a lot of things from their political culture.
Totally.
So if you were basically like, if you didn't like slavery, but you liked this new economic system called capitalism, you became a Whig. And people who were Whigs, and I'm not making this up, called themselves Wiggers.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep.
I like the pause for the
yeah. Wiggers.
You nailed it.
Interesting.
Which is, by the way, if anyone is under 25, wigger is a word that not Antonio and I would say, but people our age would say it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's
your favorite rapper ever.
Yeah. He is. Yeah, he certainly is, dude. I learned that word from him, actually, because in the song The Way I Am, he says, I'm sick of these cocky Caucasians who think I'm some wigger who just tries to be black because I talk with an accent and grab on my balls, so they always keep asking, what if I just did the whole song?
The whole song, we're like, all right.
That song might be his magnum opus.
Which song is that one?
The Way I Am. I just think because it's so angry. And you would think it'd be unrelatable.
You want me to bust the instrumental out?
If you don't mind, dude.
You know,
Thank you so much, Billy.
You know,
Billy knows what I want at all times.
I love My Mom. I always listen to My Mom. That's one of my favorites.
I'm not a big Relapse fan.
Yeah.
It might be. I might even dislike it more than Encore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of Eminem slander for a little while. In recent time.
Okay, and there's a new album coming out, and there's a new song, a new Eminem song that came out, and a pet peeve of mine.
Oh shit. Oh, okay, yeah, this one.
To be the most meanest MC on this earth, and since birth I've been cursed with this curse, just cursed and this blur and berserk and bizarre shit that works and it sells and it helps in itself to relieve all the tension that's spent and instead it just gets and the stress that's been eating me recently off in this chest, and I rest to get peacefully. But at least have the decency in you to leave me alone when you freaks see me out in the streets while I'm eating or feeding my daughter to not come and speak to me. I don't know you, and no, I don't owe you a motherfuck anything. I'm not Mr. Instinct. I'm not what your friends think. I'm not Mr. Friendly. I can be a prick. If you tip me, my tank is on empty. No pages in me, and if you offend me, I'm lifting you 10 feet. In the air, I don't care who was there and just saw me, just jaw you, go call you a lawyer, file you a lawsuit. I'm tired. I fucked up.
Fuck yeah.
It was only amount of. I got so close to the end of the first verse.
That's Bobby's manifesto right there.
And it's so funny because he's talking about like the pressures of fame,
right?
And people not understanding who he is as an artist, and he can't go outside in public without people harassing him. And I'm fucking 11 years old, just stressed about math homework.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you and me, Marshall.
These people keep pulling me in different directions.
Yeah,
You're 11.
And
like,
I got math class, but I don't even know if I can get my ass passed. My ass passed?
My ass passed.
I needed to rhyme.
Yeah. No, that was good.
I love Abraham Lincoln. I love Eminem. Just white guys that could somehow get the respect of black people. It's very impressive.
Sure, and speak well. They're good at words.
You know what's interesting about young M is that he is so not well spoken, which is weird because like his job is like, you know, obviously put together words in a way that few other people can. But like as in like 99, 2000, 2001, he'd be interviewed and they'd be like, so tell us about your writing process. And he'd be like, well, you know, like I straight up, like I just write my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I just write my life. You know what I'm saying?
He's still hood.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like one of those guys that's like, yes, we know what you're saying. Just relax, pause.
You ever watch like old 50 Cent interviews before he got his teeth fixed and everything? He's hood as fuck. Still hood as fuck.
And I think the song, the Ja Rule diss, Life is on the Line. Your Life's on the Line.
Yeah.
That was before he got, so his voice got changed from getting shot.
Right.
And so he sounds young, and also he's like tall. I mean, obviously being tall is going to be the same, but he was like very skinny.
Yes.
Apparently he got ripped from the physical therapy after getting shot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, I'm sure he had to take time off whatever gym regiment he was under, even though he had
Dude, if I could get shot 9 times and then maybe, like, get past at the cellar.
Yeah.
I'd be so happy.
You can't get shot
set something up?
9 times.
Wasn't that in the
Juicy
Smouye? Wire? Wasn't that an episode of the? Have either of you seen The Wire?
I've never seen
in
it
a long time.
I could be fucking completely R-worded right now, but I think that there's just trying to help the algorithm. You know what I mean? I think there's a scene where a rapper he's not actually kind of hood.
Okay.
You know,
staging a shooting.
Yeah.
He's Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Dude, you know what? That movie helped me in a way.
Movie. Yeah.
Because Eminem came out and I was like, Eminem's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I was sagging my pants and I was wearing a gold chain and not a real gold chain. And I was wearing like a hooded sweatshirt. And then like a few years later, Malibu's Most Wanted came out and I was like, oh, okay, I have to toe this line.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fantastic movie.
It's a great movie.
I love
Jamie
that
Kennedy,
movie.
underrated.
So fucking funny.
There's this scene way before comedian destroys heckler or whatever. There was I think it was even before YouTube. I think I watched it on Comedy Central. But he gets heckled.
I remember this. I know what you're talking about.
Because he goes, he's telling some story, and he goes, the waitress, and then a woman in the front row says, server.
Yeah.
And he kind of picks on her for like.
Yes, they kept it in.
And he goes, why don't you serve these nuts?
Yeah.
And as a 13-year-old boy, I was like, that's very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, to tell a heckler to serve these nuts.
Serve these nuts.
And that's where I became acquainted with the bit of it, D's nuts.
Anytime talking about nuts at 13 is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's always a fun time.
You know what's interesting is because my mom, she loves Jesus in a way that Irish Catholic women do. Yeah. But she was always kind of like, she likes jokes. Okay. And she likes, because she's not a comedy fan per se, but she appreciates humor. And so, like, I would be in my room as a preteen watching Premium Blend. Just very funny to think about. Just like a little white boy listening to, like, black comics talk about, like, beating up the pussy or whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I'm there
Charlie
like,
Barnett.
yeah, hell yeah, brother. I know what you're talking about. But, like,
beat that shit.
I remember one time it was Dane Cook. Dane Cook had a joke about Christ checks.
Yes.
Yeah. Where he was
Him
like,
and his whole family would go and sit in the front row.
Just this whole thing, like, where it's like it's borderline disrespectful, but you know it's not trying to be edgelord. It's not like Jim Jeffries where he's like, religion's fucking stupid.
Right.
He's like, here's my quaint observations but he says the Eucharist is like Christ checks.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom was in my room for some reason, and she laughed. I remember this. She laughed in a way where I knew she didn't want to laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's very impressive.
Yes.
You could make someone that loves Jesus as much as my mom to be like, Christ checks is very funny. Like, I'm nervous to laugh because he's watching.
Right.
But
is your mom one of the God has a sense of humor type people?
I think so. She says God has a sense of humor. Look at my forehead. She has a similar forehead to mine.
Very similar.
Yeah. She got a big forehead, but the thing is, she's a woman, so she could have bangs. I can't necessarily have bangs.
Right.
You know
Guy
what I mean?
bangs are, yeah.
I mean, I guess
I don't know if that's a thing. Is that even a thing?
I think in Bushwick, I think about this sometimes.
Those aren't guys.
If
no.
I could be a little gayer.
Yeah.
Maybe a little gayer.
Just
I think,
the hair. Literally.
Yeah, the hair's a little gay. Dude, I had a shaved head for so long.
Really?
Not like yours, but like a buzz cut. Like 1 inch.
Yeah.
Because it's an insecurity thing. I don't, up until very recently, I didn't like having red hair because I didn't like growing up and being different. And I would have old Irish ladies. I'm from the Hudson Valley where there's like a lot of Irish people. I have old Irish ladies come up to me, and I don't know why they didn't think about this before they said it, but they would go, "Oh, look how I'm little." They'll go, look how beautiful your red hair is. Do you know how many women would kill for that color? I'm like, why do you think a boy would want to hear that?
Right.
It's like walking up to a little girl and being like, look at your broad shoulders.
Yeah.
You know how many linebackers would love to have shoulders as broad as yours?
Yeah, you look so strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And apparently I don't remember this, apparently what I would do out of frustration, because I'm 5, 6 years old, I don't know how to deal with frustration, so I would just growl at them like a dog, which is odd, right? It's not socially appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So
I've seen
all
you
of that
growl
to
at
say,
people.
like, I would shave my head, and then one day, like, life got in the way. I just couldn't get a haircut for a while, and then more than one person was like, your hair looks good. And I was like, this is what my hair looks like.
That's all it took.
Yeah. I had people be like, dude, I thought you were balding. I'm like, no. I've had bald guys be like angry with me. They're like, you've been hiding this whole time? Like, I had no idea.
You can go back and forth if you wanted to, which is nice. That seems like an Irish thing to do because I got a buddy who will do the same. You know what's funny is when you get a haircut and people go, oh, my God, you look so good. Like before you looked like shit.
Yeah.
Like my buddy had long hair for a while and then he cut his shit and we were all like, dude, you look great. So he's like, oh, wow.
You
I
know
must
what
have looked like
sucks with a compliment. Yeah, that thing. And when someone throws the word actually into a compliment. Hey, Bobby, you're actually pretty smart. Hey, you could actually suck my dick. That's crazy. Why would you say that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Actually, you're actually a fucking bitch.
I don't know if people know how to talk to other people sometimes. I've been kind of grousing like this about this a little bit. Like, you ever get like you make plans with someone?
Yeah.
Whether it's for a date or like a comedy thing, and they'll go, yeah, that should work.
That should work.
It's like, does it work or not? Like, should? What is that?
Do or do not.
Yeah. I've had people. I've been like, well, and this might be a generational thing too, where I'm like, can you get there at 6 or not? They're like, oh yeah, 6 should be good.
Yeah, it should be good.
And does that mean like day of you're gonna let me know maybe 5:37?
Or I'll try.
I'll try.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I'm gonna try and beat my dick instead instead of coming to hang out with you.
It's one thing if you're like, Bobby, I'm having a birthday party. Can you come? But if it's like predicated of me being there.
Yeah.
Like if it's like, hey, you, me, and Billy are gonna hang out. Can you come? And I'll try.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, dude, me and Billy want to know if you're actually gonna come.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. There's teetotalers or line totalers. That might not be
a teetotaler is someone
either.
that doesn't drink.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're one.
I don't know. I think I describe myself as I don't drink.
Okay.
Because teetotaler, I feel, or if I said I was a teetotaler, first of all, most people would be like, "What the hell are you saying?"
Yeah, that's like an old.
And
word.
I won't say that I'm straight edge because I feel like.
That's weird. That's like you skateboard.
Well yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
how old are you if you're straight edge? But also, it's like I can't. Like I want to drink and I can't. That's not the same as like taking a stance.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I don't say I'm sober because then people think I go to meetings and I do the 12 steps and I just don't.
You don't do that either.
You know, it's an interesting thing about dating is that it's a red flag for some women if I'm like, I don't drink. You know what I mean? For different reasons. I feel like sometimes they'll be like, well, you're not fun. Or they'll be like, oh, that's a mental illness and that's
You
and
got
I
a problem.
understand that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand that 100%. But I've tried to date like AA girls and they'll be like, oh, you don't do the program. That's fine. You don't have to. I mean, it works, but like, you know, and there's always that little bit of a tension there, right? She's like, you don't have to come to a meeting, although it seems like you would benefit from a meeting if
You
you went
probably
with
should.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
That's yeah. I feel what you're saying. That's hilarious right now, specifically because she's an AA girl.
oh yeah,
No,
you're not. Okay.
Fuck.
May I speak?
Sure.
I started off. I mean, I go if someone else wants to go,
Yeah.
or if I need to go to a meeting, I'll go because I relate. But but no, I'm not. I'm not.
Don't
I'm
go
not.
on forever now.
I go like 5 times a year maybe to a meeting.
Okay.
It's just it was like the fundamentals because for me, if I didn't have something like to look forward to, whereas like some sort of structure,
yeah.
there's no way I was gonna keep my mouth off a bottle of wine
Cock.
or booze. Yeah.
Right.
So I had to have some steps in but I don't I think that everyone's journey is different. It's just that a lot of people who don't have anything and they just stop.
Totally.
The abstinence makes them a dry, angry fuck.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. And it doesn't matter if it's like a 12-step or if it's your own personal journey. I think that you know when, like, I'm an alcoholic. I know I'm an alcoholic. I have a lot of time for my age, like, sobriety-wise. But I also wouldn't say I'm straight edge, and I wouldn't call myself, like, a program person. But people who aren't in the program might think that I am. I do.
Right.
I mean, it works for me, but it doesn't. Different ways work for all different people. I mean, there could have been 400 other different ways that could have helped me to stay sober and get sober too. I just
Totally.
knew people that had already, who I used to party with, that went into AA, and they knew which kind of AA meetings to go to and like what was a solid choice. So I would kind of like watch their life change and be like, I think that's going to be me.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give him the microphone. This isn't The View. Anyway.
It's actually much dumber than
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
Based on your guest.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now that we're almost an hour in, we got
Oh,
like
wow.
15 more minutes.
Okay.
We might as well bring up, how did you start doing stand-up?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Damn, time flies when you're having fun.
Right?
Or when
That's
you're-
why I scheduled 2 hours.
Yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
either way.
dude. Yeah, I don't know. It was this weird thing where I didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time. I was one of those, like, I feel like it's very specific to our generation where we go to college without even having the slightest idea of what we want to do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I like politics, I like history, so I studied those things in college. I thought about maybe being a lawyer, and then I realized, like, I don't know, I talked to so many lawyers, and they all gave me the same advice with law school. They were like, unless you've always wanted to be a lawyer, do not be a lawyer.
Right.
And I got that advice from someone that loves being a lawyer, and I got that advice from a guy that fucking hates his life because he didn't want to be a lawyer. You know what I mean?
He's doing insurance claims all day.
And yeah, it was a tumultuous time in my life, like post-college, because I think it really kind of hit me like, I mean, we were talking earlier when I got to college, and I was like, everybody gets laid in college now, right? And I realized that wasn't true. I had a similar thing when I graduated college. I was like, everyone gets a $40K a year job after they get a bachelor's degree, right?
Sure.
And then, a month later, I'm working at a pizza place and still drinking.
Yeah.
Really, terrible. A terrible time. You ever look back at a time?
Good.
What's that?
That sounds nice. Were you in your hometown doing it?
Yeah, I was not happy. Yes. I was not happy.
Going to the old football field, sitting in the bleachers, drinking some wild turkey with the boys.
Wild turkey was the first thing I drank.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Mine was Canadian Club.
Ooh.
I filled like a Wendy's cup with Canadian Club. it was like my dad's booze. Yeah.
The first time I drank it was like with a bunch of punk rock kids.
Nice.
And we passed around a wild turkey. And dude, this is gonna sound so fucking like corny because it is, but the moment I felt like as I was like felt myself getting drunk, later on I read a book by Charles Bukowski, right? And if you're a boy, you have to read Charles Bukowski.
You have to.
So
Kerouac.
they teach you it in boys' school. You have to read it.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar, he was a postal worker for 20 years and would get drunk and fuck prostitutes and fight people.
Yeah.
And
bet on horses.
Yeah, and bet on horses. Yeah, just cool guy stuff. But like a loser, but in a cool way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of parallels to early Eminem, actually. But he had a book called Ham on Rye.
Yeah,
where he talks about the first time. It's semi-autobiographical. He talks about the first time he got drunk. And he said, I remember thinking to myself, this is going to be an important part of my life for a very long time.
Yes.
And, dude, I was like, yeah, that's how I felt the first time I was drunk, which isn't normal. I feel like if you have that thought, you might be an alcoholic. I don't know why I sounded like Jeff Foxworthy right now.
Yeah. You might be. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, and I definitely,
Yeah.
I originally I thought of it as like a positive thing.
Yeah.
Because I was still drinking when I read that from Bukowski, and I was like, and I'm like, well, Bukowski's a cool guy. You know
That
what
ended
I
up
mean?
working for him. So when you hear
I
that,
mean, he
you're
died
like,
in his early 70s, so.
Yeah. But he also got to be super famous.
Oh, that's true. You know what? I feel for guys that, and you should never call other people an alcoholic, but people I suspect might be alcoholics who are really good at comedy, and their voice and their brand is that they are a heavy drinker.
Yeah.
And maybe they have to have 1, 2, 3 drinks before they even get on stage. And because I got sober and then started doing comedy, I don't have to worry about telling myself a story that I need booze to do the thing that I'm good at.
Right.
And by the way, like no one should listen to me for advice for any reason. If you're doing that, your life is already off the rails. But if I could offer one piece of advice, it'd be like, if you think I need a substance to do a thing, you're wrong. It's bullshit. It's your brain tricking you.
Except get an erection.
Yeah, you might need to take a Blue Chew. Although, if you're having trouble maintaining erection in front of a woman, you might want to stop watching pornography for a week or 2. I know that sounds impossible.
I don't do it anymore.
Really?
No porn.
No porn at all.
No porn.
That's beautiful, man.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're on Instagram. It's close. It's pretty close. You know.
I've pornified my Instagram.
I feel like I've heard you talk about this.
Because I do have a high libido.
I believe you.
A fun thing when a woman says it, but when a guy said it, everyone's like, "Are we gonna be okay?"
He's gonna start shooting all over this room.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I'm churched up, man. But like, and yeah, I realize because we use Instagram for work too. That's how people like reach out to us for spots, and we're posting clips on Instagram and stuff. I noticed it was kind of fucking with my attention. So whenever I'd see like a sexy picture on Instagram, I would click the I don't want to see this button. You know, I'm sure Instagram fucking thinks I'm gay now.
Yeah,
You know, 'cause
yeah,
it's all
yeah.
like comedy, but like workout videos and stuff.
Yeah.
It's if you go to my
Quotes.
search,
Philosophy
stoic
quotes. Yeah.
No. I'm beyond that period of my life. Although sometimes, dude,
They hit.
like my YouTube algorithm is definitely like a boy algorithm.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get a video and it's just Marcus Aurelius quotes given in a deep voice.
Yeah.
As if it's from a Roman emperor with like cool music in the background.
And like a wolf walking.
And a wolf walking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I will get out of bed today.
That's like
Holy
hypnosis.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I feel like I like so many things that the fan base for that thing is cringy. I mean,
Sure.
Eminem is a big one,
Sure.
right? You know, I love Eminem. He's personally my favorite rapper. I can't stand the YouTube comments of being like, "This is so much better than fucking mumble crap." I'm like, "Shut up. You're making
Yeah.
us look bad."
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
the thing you like and let other people like the thing that they like.
Right.
You know?
There's a place for both.
And Stoicism is the same thing because it's like Stoic philosophy is helped me immensely. But I'm sure if I said that to a person that's run into somebody else who also loves Stoicism, they'd be like, I have to get away from this guy right now.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, he's going to tell me to endure
Yeah.
day and night. Like, I haven't heard that before.
I've had to stop myself from, like I had a friend grousing about, you know, he's having like, you know, interpersonal problems. And I was like, well, you know, that person, even though they hurt you, they can't help it because there really is no free will. They were always destined to be the person that hurt you. And then, like, as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, this is not being a good friend right now. There's a time and place, but right now I should empathize. Right now I
Sure.
should literally, like, look him in the eye and nod and go, that sounds really hard. I'm sorry you're dealing with that.
Yeah, it's not time for Socrates and contemplation.
And I mean, we were talking about like low grade narcissism. I do think there's a part of me that's like that wants to like impart.
yeah.
You know, I'm
You're
like,
I
well,
got the answer.
Have you ever read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah.
Have you ever maybe thought about just being a nice friend that listens to me when I talk? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me recommend a book. That's the
Yeah.
last thing that a person needs when they're fucking something's going on in their life. They're like, I got a book. I got the Tao Te Ching if you'd like to read that.
Yeah, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, can you please just say sorry for your loss and keep walking so the next
Exactly.
person can shake the person's hand at the wake line?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't know. I also struggle with...
Marcus Aurelius at a wake is crazy. This is life. Take it as it comes. Yeah.
How'd you actually get into comedy?
Sorry.
He didn't know what he wanted to do in life.
I always loved comedy, man, and it was this weird thing where stand-up was always the thing I loved more than anything else.
Yeah.
And
You were a fan as a kid.
I was a fan watching Premium Blind as a little
Right.
kid, quoting bits to other people,
Yes.
rewatching Kevin James's Sweat the Small Stuff over and over
Love
again.
Sweat the Small Stuff.
His magnum opus.
Yeah.
And other people would tell me I'm funny.
Yes.
Like my mom would tell me that she went to parent teacher night and I was like a decent student, so there was no problems there, but like also not amazing, but like all the teachers would say, "Oh, he was very funny."
He's funny, yeah.
I remember my gym teacher in particular was like, "Oh, Bobby's very funny. He's always like making jokes." And I'm like, "Yes, because I was dealing with the bad thoughts of constantly being picked last,
Sure,
and
yeah.
not feeling like good in my body, and not feeling like I was like athletic or
Sure.
strong, you know."
Pangs of childhood.
The he who makes a beast out of himself.
Yeah.
That might also be
I
Marcus
love
Aurelius.
that. No, that's Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, okay. And
He
take
makes
anything he says with a grain of salt because he did end up shooting himself in the head.
Right up there on the wall. I got him.
Oh, that's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, that's...
And I don't know. I had this weird thing where I'm like, I like comedy. It's the thing I'm obsessed with. And other people say I'm funny, but I can't do stand-up. And then, like, one day it was like, asshole.
Go do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
try it at
Yeah.
least. And I had a coworker, and this was right before I stopped drinking, and was in a really, I think the lowest point in my life I've ever been in. And I said some stupid safe for work joke, and she said, "You should be a comedian." and that was Erica, my coworker. And I know people say that. Maybe she said that to 10 different people that she thinks is funny.
Sure.
But I just needed one other person. And then I got a job, moved to New York, and did my first open mic. And I didn't have to do it that way. I could have done an open mic.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's wild that I did it that way. Like, what if I did a mic and it was awful?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't do as awful. I did do awful, but I didn't do as awful as I thought I was going to.
Sure.
And I feel like I was blessed that I had I'd listened to enough, like a lot of the old seller comics talk about how awful their first time was. So I had my expectations were they were grounded, and I exceeded my own expectations. And get ready to fucking vomit when I say this, everyone. But when I was up there, I was like, I don't want to leave, and this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I know
I feel like
you're next to the toilet now. Dry heaving. My suggestion would be to put your fingers down your throat. If you're dry heaving, you should put your fingers down your throat and get it over with.
You got to pull trach. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, most people are listening to this, and they're on the way to their soul-crushing job.
Okay.
So they might actually like hearing that you found something that you enjoy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I mean, some people don't find the occupation that's for them.
Yeah.
But they find something else, whether it's a person or, probably shouldn't necessarily be a person. Being the type of person that would be a good mother or father,
Right.
might be a good thing.
Right.
Not me, baby. I'm married to the game.
I'm
married to doing midnight spots at the Grizzly Pear in front of confused tourists that
That's
thought
right.
they were going to see Jim Carrey.
That's right.
Yeah.
And instead they see Jim Harry?
Very good.
Does that work?
I
that
think
works, right? Because of the sideburns.
we could always, Billy. We could always change it in post, right?
I'll dub it. I'll dub it with a funny joke.
Just say the name of one of our colleagues that
Yeah.
is. Oh, there's so many people that are bad at comedy,
Yo, tons.
and I feel bad.
And none of them are in this room.
No,
Zero.
we got the Rushmore of creativity up.
Exactly.
Fuck the big three. It's just this big four, huh?
It's the big four.
Topical. Huh? That's my new Tinder profile, by the way. Is fuck the big three, brackets, folks, and brackets. It's just big me.
Yeah.
And you do a couple things there. You reference that you know what's happening in pop culture.
Yep.
You use a little bit of humor, but you also show that you don't use the N-word.
Yes.
And that's the three big things women are looking for, fellas. They want to know that you're funny. They want to know that you know what's going on in the world. And they want to know that you are not part of a far-right militia.
That's right.
That's kind of ironic.
Which, when you look like you and I, is
really,
tough.
dude, you look like you run the shit, but
Yeah.
I'm like I'm part of the marketing team. You
Yeah.
know?
You can be my right-hand man.
You're
for sure.
you're Edward Norton in the parking lot before we storm the grocery store.
Yes.
But I'm the guy that's like, yeah, tell him, Antonio. By the way, Antonio, you're gonna have to change it to Anthony, even while Anthony's like still Italian.
And Tony. No, Tony's too hard, right? Is Tony too? That's like too. Ant. I get Ant. Ant isn't bad.
Well, I know when the KKK started. Guy that knows too much about incels and also hate movements. I know that they were like anti-Catholic, anti-Irish, anti-Italian.
Yeah.
But because there's so few one type of person anymore. Like I feel like everyone I meet is like half this and half that. You know what I mean? They have to like lessen the rules eventually.
Oh, they gotta.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I learned that in Nazi Germany you could be a what's the word? A honorary Aryan. You could literally be one of the good ones legally.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? If you were only, quote unquote, only a quarter Jewish, but you would be like, but like Hitler rules or whatever, they'd be like, all right, buddy, welcome.
We'll take you in.
And part of that is because they were fucking, and this is going to sound like a joke, but they were running out of doctors, engineers, lawyers.
Yeah.
Which is so hilarious to me. Like they're like, we're the
Comedians.
master race, but we do need people that are very smart to do stuff for us.
And tell us jokes.
And tell us, that's the thing. Because everybody knows Germany, famous for their sense of humor.
Yes.
I do love German crowds, though. I will say that.
You've done comedy for Germans.
Because Germans are, okay, Australians are great because they are wild people that are drinking at all times.
Yes.
But sometimes they could get a little rowdy. Germans love to drink, so they'll get loosened up. but they love the rules so much that they won't heckle. Now, there was one situation in which their love for the rules was actually very bad for humanity. But at a comedy show, it's great.
It works well.
Drunk, a little loosened up, but they're not going to yell nonsensical stuff to me while I'm trying to perform.
That's nice. Huh, interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, got you. We'll be wrapping it up just shortly. But I wanted to tell you, I think I've told you this before, but I want you to repeat the JFK quote that I say constantly.
Okay.
About the strange headache.
Oh,
I need you to tell everybody about this.
Yeah.
Because all I say is the beginning part of it.
Uh-huh.
And like my friends get it now because I say it so often.
Shout out to JFK. We were talking about addiction. Guy clearly was a sex addict.
Oh yeah.
And for some reason, in private, said to the British Prime Minister, "I get a strange migraine headache if I don't get a strange piece of ass every day."
That's beautiful. I love that, and I'm sure he meant it.
Yeah,
I bet he meant that.
Ask not what you can do for the pussy, but what the pussy can do for you. Apparently, he was a very selfish lover. So he would fuck, but missionary and like for like pump and dump
until
situation.
He came. That was it.
And I guess when you're the president, I don't know. Has the president ever eaten a woman's? Obama has.
He had to have.
Obama's a good husband.
Yeah.
Clinton definitely was going in there.
Yeah, I mean, he was using.
Do black men eat pussy? I don't know if that's.
Oh, that's true.
You know?
Yeah, but he was half
and he
Irish.
was gay. Remember, he was gay.
Oh yeah.
Remember the whole gay thing?
Well. Oh, I remember, buddy. I signed an NDA though, so I can't talk about it.
That's right.
Let's just say he was the top. I mean, in what situation would I not be the bottom though?
Right. Well, Bobby,
a petite gentleman.
Thank you so much for coming on,
Thanks
brother.
for having me, dude. This is a blast.
Yeah. Next time we'll maybe start on time.
Ooh.
And we'll go no worries. Billy, Bobby, Billy. How can people find you, sir? Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of them.
Yes, guys. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm Bobby Sheehan, LOL, because you know they bring the laughter. You could also find me on the internet. I'm at www.bobbysheehanlol.com. So it's the same as my Instagram handle. I have a podcast called the Before Hours Podcast. And if you're a European person or someone that's going to be in Scotland during the month of August, I am going to be doing an hour of history jokes, American history sex, history class for adults, every day of August during the Edinburgh Fringe Comedy Festival. So if you stop by, tell me you heard me on Antonio's podcast, and I will buy you a drink and give you a peck on the forehead.
Look at that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Peace.